Okay, so good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. This is our honest reviews and opinions section of our Spotlight stream. We just did our playthrough of Gunslinger, courtesy of BC Games Company, so big shout out to them. The game is currently available, and they're going to be going live shortly on Kickstarter, I believe, correct? With Gambler?
Gambler, yeah.
Which is an expansion for this game.
Standalone.
May 1st.
Standalone.
Standalone expansion.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm Matt.
I'm Anne.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Nicole.
And we're currently joined with...
We are with Bill and Conrad, who are the creators of Gunslinger.
Okay, so we're going to talk now about what we liked about the game, things necessarily we didn't care for, and things we would change if we had the opportunity. So who wants to start off? Josh, how about you?
All right, starting off with me.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Got to start somewhere.
The game's fun. It's a quick game. How many players does it actual support? I don't know though what that number is off the top of my head.
That'd be a good try.
Up to 5? Okay. So that would be interesting to see a full game. But with 3 players, I liked it. There's a few issues with art assets, and some of it is I would like to see nicer, cleaner art. But the other thing is, I know some of these are red and some of these are green. As colorblind, I can't tell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said it. If they never said it, I would have noticed that they were actually different colors in the cards.
And that's your particular brand of colorblindness.
Yeah, that's my particular brand of colorblindness. And I just, when they said it, I didn't even notice it when I was looking at the cards that there was a color difference.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the game is fun. The font is hard to read and a little small.
Mm-hmm.
That it might be I'm not wearing my glasses, but I normally don't need my glasses to read, and I have to squint a little bit to read it. So it's not a huge issue, but I have a lot of fun with the game. And once you know the cards, you don't really need to read them as much.
Right.
But I had fun, even though I lost.
Twice.
No.
How many Spotlight games have I actually won?
That is not part of the review section. Please continue.
But just in general. No, I had fun. I like all the different mechanics. I like that the cards spell out pretty much exactly what they can and can't do. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much like, that's the rule in the cards. There's not really like a rule book per se.
Right.
A cheat sheet for what all the cards kind of, like a quick summary would be nice, but not needed.
So you mean a quick reference guide?
Yeah, and they have a quick reference guide here for how to play and stuff, just like what all the cards are and just all their abilities.
Right, like a brief description.
Just a brief description. I mean, it's not totally necessary, but that would be nice. But no, I had a lot of fun. I really like the
The casings.
the casings. It's a nice theme to the game, and I really like that. So, yeah, okay. I think that's the general gist of
how you feel about it.
And your thoughts?
I'm going to echo Josh on a little bit of that. I have a couple of personal sticking points that I look for in a particular game, and the very first one is art. I like pretty games. And I think that when this game was first brought out, the box is a little... This is why I need the character. The box is a little off-putting. The font is a little difficult to read. The back of this particular box is a little blurry. It's not an attractive box. It doesn't make me want to pick up. And I know that the shell casings and the burlap bag are extra. So if I was just going to see this game sitting on a store shelf, I'm not attracted to the game, which is a shame because I think that the mechanics of the game and the play of the game are a lot more fun than what the appearance of the game puts off for it to be. I think the appearance of the game is very misleading for how much fun the game actually is. I want to echo the thought with the font on the quick reference guides and the instructions. It is I've seen this particular font before. It's a nice font for titles. It is very difficult to read with long text. I'm a big fan of quick reference guides. I love the fact that everybody had a little quick reference guide, but because it's very wordy and the font's difficult to read, it's easier for me to avoid using the quick reference guide than to go look at it. I find that card games with multiple kinds of cards always tend to have that same difficult point that you had mentioned, where sometimes the cards need clarification. Can I use this card with this combination? Can I use that card with that combination? And it's difficult to try and explain on a card because either you get too wordy mentioning specific card combinations, or you're not wordy enough with how you explain it. It's always the one-off weird kind of combinations, like when we had the 2 tackles. It's the specific situations where you're like, what do I do now? I know you mentioned that you had YouTube videos up for a lot of the how to plays, and I think that's great. Something where a player can be, Scrabble was a good example of that, where you could pull the dictionary rule. Something like, I want to pull a rule. I want to double check how this goes. So YouTube videos like that are an excellent way to do that. I think that with the extras of the shell casings and the burlap bag, absolutely my favorite part. As much as I was not a fan of the art on the box, I am totally a fan of the burlap bag and the shell casings. It is so thematic. It is so creative. It is so unique. It's pretty on the shelf. If the box came in the burlap bag, I'd have picked it up no problem. Like, this is really, it's very pretty. I like the game mechanics. It's different. I don't think we've played a real, and as an Italian, spaghetti western themed game, and I liked the whole quick draw. We've played a lot of games where you're constantly going, and that really helps cure analysis paralysis. We discussed it in the beginning when we started the game, that after your 3rd round or so that you really should be moving on this, and you had mentioned that a card had a 3-second rule, so I like that quick draw kind of move. I like the cute little pieces when it comes to poker references, like how you deal 5 cards done. It's, you have a dealer, you're dealing out cards. So I definitely think those mechanics tied in very nicely with the theme. I don't think that some games you have nice mechanics, but you're forcing a theme. I think this worked out really well. It was a lot of fun.
That's a hard one to follow there, because you hit on a lot of the points that I wanted to hit on. I don't want to echo the art stuff too much, just because these two already hashed it out already, and I have to mimic those points or sound off on those points again. Just the box art is a little on my view, but again, as Anne said, the burlap sack and the spent shell
Really
casings are fantastic, and I love that. I would definitely spring for the deluxe edition for no problem at all. Again, the font thing, I feel like maybe it's just because this is the rules card that it had to have everything on there. Is there a pamphlet that was inserted with the game, or
no? That
it was
just the cards.
I feel like maybe that would have been the way to mitigate that. Just basically have a printout pamphlet so you could put all the text on there, and then just have the quick reference cards for that. But otherwise, the mechanics of the game were really solid. The simultaneous play, everything was clear for the most part. The one issue that we had was, again, the tackle in a circle mechanic. But otherwise, everything is spelled out very clearly. Everything happens at once, so it's not, I take your gun and then this happens. Everything is resolved at the same time, which simplifies things greatly. And the gameplay varies a lot, which is very interesting. We had the really short 2-3 round game in the beginning, and then you and Nicole had the head-to-head defense battle, which that's fun in its own right.
Yeah.
And it really speaks a lot to the game that you're able to play those 2 games back to back from each other.
Right.
And have them be both completely valid ways of playing the game, and it's not even necessarily one strategy that'll take you there, it's a luck of the draw thing.
Yeah.
And I really like that as well, just because it gives a lot more replayability to the game. And then, as you said, also, Anne, the small details are what really makes it fun for me too. The poker reference with that, the trick shot being where you shoot the gun out of someone's hand, the little, not even the references that are pointed out, they're just there. So when you kind of find them, it's a nice little Easter egg.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that as well. But the game itself is definitely a good game to play with a decent sized group of people. It's one that I feel like we would definitely play again, but I need you to speed it up next time. I understand that it's, picking up the game for the first or second time or whatever. You have to read through the cards, you forget what things are, but I definitely feel that the game would benefit from the faster-paced playing style, which is encouraged by the 3-second play time.
I think we were starting to get it toward the end, especially, there's an analysis paralysis when you've got 12 cards in your hand and you forget however many cards you have.
Another-
I think a counter or a countdown. Sorry to,
No,
but
go
it would
for
be would be really great in that case because you, as a player, are so invested in playing the right strategy. But I think part of the fun of the game is I have to put it down, and either you get upset with yourself because you didn't. Darn, it's not the best move I could have made, but it's exciting, that rush.
Right,
It's
exactly.
an adrenaline.
Yes.
It's the chaos of
Yeah,
the entire
exactly.
thing that makes it interesting too. I had one more point. I don't remember what it is. I'll remember it eventually.
I'm
But
sure
TP,
you
I'm
will.
going to pass it off to you.
So I actually got a preview of this at Dallas Games Marathon. I was fortunate enough to meet Bill and Conrad there, so I was really excited to bring this game out again. I know when we first pulled it out, they were looking at the box and they're like, oh, what is this game? They didn't seem too interested, but I was really excited for them to actually see it because I knew the game was a lot of fun. They were talking about the rules and how you have to put the card up to their head, and they're like, that's a strange rule. And I didn't mention that I remember playing this with Bill and Conrad, and it just added to the theme. Like, you can't explain it in a way. It's like something about psyching each other out that I really like about that rule. It's like, I got you, and it's just like this connection that you've got with the other player. For that reason, I do like the aspect of the 3 or 5 second rule and having to go faster. It really makes the theme. It really does do an adrenaline rush. So that's fun, and especially for someone with analysis paralysis. And I always want to make sure that I'm doing the best I possibly can. That's really a way. I was really rushing at the end. I love how each game is completely different. Each game we played was completely different, and that was a lot of fun too. I do have the same concerns with the art, but you know, the second you pick it up, that's not really an issue. I'd love to see flavor text on it. I think that'd be cool. If you ever did another printing, I think flavor text would be awesome.
You're
I know that-
absolutely correct. Yes.
But because this theme is so awesome, because how it's played and the quickness of it, I think some flavor text would really add to the thematic experience.
During the resolve.
Yeah. So, but the mechanics are solid. It's a lot of fun to play. I did not get bored playing it. There are a lot of times when we're going on the third round of a game in a single stream, it's like, okay, how many times can we play the same game over and over again? It is quick, but it's the same game. This, every time, is completely different. So I really like that about this game, and I had a lot of fun playing.
I remember what I was going to say.
You did.
So, a point to what I was going to say with regards to us taking a little bit longer for our respective turns is that we were cycling people in and out. And what that means is some people weren't as experienced as others. Some people had no games under their belt when they came in. So that slows things down as well. So that shouldn't be too much of a knock against it just because we all weren't the same level of experience, and getting reacquainted with things after sitting out for a round or two is, it takes away from your speed for sure.
Yeah.
I personally love games that are quick enough to play at a party, but not too basic. And I think this really fits that category very well.
Yeah,
This is a good beginning party when not everyone's there yet, especially if we have a large group, because it plays up to 5. So it's like, all right, we're having 8 people over tonight. 3, 4 of us are here. Someone jumps in. Oh, wait 5 minutes. We'll be done with this game. You can join in. And go with it. So it's a good, I don't want to say filler game because you could play it more than that, but it works in that
Icebreaker
aspect.
game.
Yeah.
I think it also works as a very good introduction game to someone who's not very familiar with board games, because it's very simple to pick up. Yes, there are different cards to learn, but the concept of what you're doing, the actions, the resolve, and how everything's labeled on the cards, I think it's very simple to understand.
It's like one step further into a really light kind of game.
Yeah.
Plus, thematically, who doesn't love a Western?
I'm the John Wayne of this show.
I am
I don't know.
Pilgrim. Okay, so does anyone else have anything to add to that? Not my John Wayne, but the game.
No? It was good.
No, I think we hit all the points. And you guys good?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, so this has been our review session for our Spotlight of Gunslinger. If anyone's watching this on YouTube after our stream, this was streamed live on Twitch, Twitch Gaming, Twist Gaming, sorry. Twitch.tv/Twist Gaming. That is a new name. We're still trying to get used to it. If you'd like to see the full playthrough, there will be another video, so make sure you check that out. Is there anything else I'd like to say?
If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure that you join us for our next Spotlight review where you can interact with us live.
It's always fun to do it live.
And a big shout out again to BC Games Company for supplying us with this game and sponsoring this week-long
You guys were
excursion.
absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for hanging around for the gameplay video, for answering our questions, for being a lot of fun with us on the stream, being awesome people.
So we're going to do one more soft closing. So for everyone watching the stream, stick around.